Hello, hello, hello. Who would you rather have, Paolo or JDub? JDub or Paolo? It's one of those questions that popped up online a few weeks back, and for some reason popped right back into my head yesterday. So I thought, actually, I remember thinking, what? Of course, Paolo. But then I thought, what do the numbers say? So it's one of those unanswerable questions that we're going to try and answer. That's right. For this video, we're talking all things Paolo and JDub. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Orlando Magic fans, by an Orlando Magic fan. Just want to thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. While you're here, click subscribe so you can join the Orlando Magic Nation and not miss any content that I produce. And while you're here clicking on buttons, smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow by getting seen by more people. Lastly, it doesn't have to be a one-way street. So down below in the comments, let me know who you would rather have, Paolo or JDub. Seeing that this is an Orlando Magic centric video, I expect I know the answer, but you never know. At least there might be some people out there that would rather have JDub. So let's look at it. So we're going to break it down into three groups, which is the normal things basically, right? Offensively, defensively, and their impact on their team. So we're going to start off, of course, you know me, I like my numbers. So there go my numbers. So this is basically a little bit of a breakdown of their career this past year, what they've done in the playoffs, and their team record, just to kind of, again, talk about their teams that they're on. So for Paolo, he's averaged in his career 22.4 points per game, 7 rebounds, about 5 assists, shooting 44.5% from the field, 32% from three, 73% from the free throw line, true shooting, PER, all that good stuff. Last year, he only had 46 games, but in those 46 games, he averaged about 26 points, 7.5 rebounds, about 5 assists, with 45% from the field, 32% from three, and 73-ish% from the free throw line with a PER of 20. JDub has played more games. They were in the same draft class, so just to bury the lead, they've both been in the league 3 years. They're both going into their fourth year. So JDub's played a few more games. He's been a bit healthier, just with Paolo being out last year. He's played 215 games, average 18.1 points per game, about 5 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 51% from the field, 38% from three, 80% free throws, and a PER of 18.3 for his career. Last year, he jumped the PER up to 20.6 with splits of 21.6, or we can round up to 22 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. So his numbers, he had a great year last year. He ended up being All NBA, second team defensive, second team All Defense. Like, he had a great year for a great team. If we look at their playoff record or their playoff stats, Paolo's been in 2 series, so it's going to be a little different because obviously now JDub has been in 6 series versus Paolo's 2. In Paolo's playoff career, 28 points, 8.5 rebounds, 4 assists a game. It's when you read it out again, you're like, "Ooh, he really is killing it in the playoffs." Playoff Paolo's out there, shooting 45-ish percent from field goal, 42% ish from 3-point range, 71% from the free throw line. So Paolo steps up in three, and I would say that's the key difference to his stats in general, and that's why his numbers bump up pretty much during the playoffs. So if we can get Paolo shooting, it doesn't have to be 40%, but if it's way more than 32% like it's been in his career, then poof, the sky's the limit. JDub in his playoff career, now he has 33 games total, averaging about 21 points per game, about 6 rebounds, 5 assists, with splits of 46, let's say, if we round up percent from the field, 32% to 33% from 3-point line and about 80% from the free throw line. So for some reason, JDub is the opposite when it comes to 3-pointers in the playoffs. He goes down, but he ended up going from 38% in his career to 32.5% from three in the playoffs for whatever reason. That might be one of those anomalies. So their the records for their team, obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder, while they do play in the West, which is obviously the harder conference with more talent just overall, they have a much better record than what the Magic have had. Now their rebuild, let's say, was accelerated a bit once the MNSGAs really started to pop, while the Magic's rebuild really is waiting for was waiting for Paolo to pop, which he did in his second year. So that's why that's where he made up most of his the team career record. That's why it's almost at 50% now, as opposed to what it had been in his first year when he was there. So for me, if you look at these numbers directly, for me, it doesn't, there's not much arguments, even with the better year last year, the more healthy year, first of all, and not the better year, but let's say with the PER being a bit better and the shooting being better from JDub. Overall, I would say Paolo would have to take the offensive edge here. He's Paulo still has some growth, just even in the field goal percentage range and all of that all the other shooting stats ultimately, but just what offensively he has to do for the team. It's just it's just night and day basically. J Dub doesn't have to score, so maybe in the end this is one of those situations where J Dub, since he doesn't have to score, ends up losing this battle here in the offense, just because he can focus on the defense and he doesn't really have to fight for every little point, because the defenses are not zoning in or looking just at him, basically zeroing in on him to try to stop him. So he kind of can go free range, and his shooting ability is definitely helps in that respect. But again, Paolo, I would say, takes the offensive end. Now, defensively, defensive stats are always a bit of a hit or miss in a lot of things, but if we look at the counting stats for Paolo, it's about point 0.8 steals per game, while for JDub it's 1.4 steals per game. The blocks are about the same. But what JDub has that Paolo doesn't have is JDub's versatility on defense. So JDub, if you look at his basketball reference, it says shooting guard or power forward. You're like, well, that's not something that you normally see. So his versatility of being able to guard bigger guys as well as keep in front of a lot of the shooting guards and small forwards, that right there, just that alone is going to be something that is going to be very, very helpful for a team. And the last 2 years, it's been Oklahoma City and Orlando being some of the best defenses in the league, partially for their tenacity and the amount of handsiness that they both get away with, but also just the versatility by a lot of the players on the team. Now, Paolo, I wouldn't say is a negative defender, but he's definitely not to the level of J Dub. So if you're looking at defense, for me, defense ends up going towards J Dub, mostly due to the versatility that he brings just himself when he's able to guard multiple positions. Paolo maybe at some point will go into that, or will grow into it, but I think at this point in both guys' maturity, which again I didn't mention it before, but J Dub is a little older as well, so give Paolo an extra year and a half. That's how much younger he is than J Dub. Give Paolo another year of growth and maturity, and who knows, maybe he's going to start playing small ball center, or who knows what we end up doing. But definitely for defense, J-Dub has the advantage. So now let's on the third one here. These stats are from Cleaning the Glass. So the colors really, it's just saying whenever something is blue, that means that it's the percentile is lower. Anything that's in the orange and darker it gets, then that's the higher percentile for their their position basically. So Paolo is considered a big, and JDub, I think last year they considered him a forward because he does both forward positions. Anywho, that's not the most important bit about these stats. The most important bit here is looking at we're trying now to figure out what they mean to their team. Obviously, if you're a Thunder fan, you're going to say, "Oh, JDub, without JDub, we wouldn't be as good as we are," which is true, but he seems like more of a nice to have as opposed to Paolo is the must have that everything revolves around here in Orlando. So we of course have Franz and we have Jalen and now we're gonna have Desmond. So we have talent on the team. I'm not gonna disrespect the Orlando Magic, but when you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder last year, they were just a stacked team. Now there were a lot of homegrown talent, which is incredible. But just in general, like we can't really no one can really argue that if J Dub for whatever reason ended up to needing to or was injured for 40 games or for 30 something games like Paolo missed last year, that Oklahoma City wouldn't have still won at least 50 games just because of their depth, just because of having the league MVP on their team. So he's definitely a nice to have. Now, if we start looking at the stats, they kind of bear out here for JDub. JDub is the group on the bottom where it says OKC. Just as you can see there, just the points per possession when he's on the court, the points per possession are 116.5 for the team. When he's off the court, they're at 120 something, 128.2, I think it is, if my math is right. But let's just say that while he's off, that they actually score 11.7 points per possession per 100 possessions better. So just offensively right there just shows you that it looks weird that that they are so much better offensively without him, but that's just what the numbers bear. Obviously, I haven't watched all the film of Oklahoma City, but just that right there just shows you the difference in the two guys. Well, for Paulo, they he also there is also a negative point per possession, but instead of being 11.7, it's point 0.3. Point 0.3 points per possession. The Magic score more. So instead of a points per possession of 110.2, they have a points per possession of 110.5. That obviously has to do with Franz, and then when that has to do with Franz or Jalen or anybody else that's playing while Paolo is on the bench. That is that. So again, we have talent on our team. It's just the level of talent all across the roster that Oklahoma City just has at their disposal. As you can see, with J Dub out, they score 11.7 points per 100 possession more. The same even with their effective field goal. Their effective field goal as a team, it's 2.9% better when he's off the court. For the Magic, it's only better by 0.4%. So basically, if you look across the board, it just favors Paolo in that respect because as Magic fans, we know that everything revolves around Paolo because even is almost like the gravitational pull that he has as a player. It just shows that everything revolves around him. So everybody gets their open shots because of Paolo. Last year, they didn't hit those open shots. So hopefully this year with a little bit better offense, especially with Tyus and with Jace when he's there, but definitely when Desmond is going to be on the court, well, now we're going to have some knockdown shooters now. So that's going to be something that hopefully the NBA has to feel the brunt of now, having Paolo with a bit more space to operate. Where for J Dub again is the secondary option on the team. Again, a very good secondary option. No one's denying that. Again, he made All NBA last year, and he's the second team All Defense. So great player. No one's denying that, and hopefully everybody can have that same understanding that that's just what it is. JDub is a great player. He showed in the playoffs this past year and also in the finals that he can step up when his team needed it. So again, kudos. He's great. He's very, very great. But if you were looking at who is more important, especially to their team, it's or who would you rather have? For me, it'd be Paolo, just because of his gravity, what he brings to the team, the Magic in general. What is all that he brings onto the court. Now, again, give him an extra year so he catches up in age to J Dub. Give him another year now with a better team with more options when it comes to guys to spray the ball out to and for them to hit threes, then maybe his numbers are going to be through the roof. And then this discussion ends up being silly. It's silly anyway. Really, we should all just be happy. Everybody should be happy. They should be happy they have J Dub. We should be happy we have Paulo. I don't really understand all the discourse necessarily, but when you look at the numbers, like I like to look at the numbers, then you can see that in the battle between these two, Paolo versus J Dub, I'd say Paolo is the one that's gonna take it, partially again because of what he means to his team as the tiebreaker, since he's to me the better offensive player, and looking at the numbers, they bear out, as well as but J Dub does have him on defense. So again, it's not a clean sweep, and it's not out of the realm of possibilities. And why are we having these discussions? Right? They're both great players. So great players. They're on the rookie max extensions. Everything is looking golden for both Paolo and J Dub. But in the end, I'd say I'd like Paolo more. I don't know if that's just the homer in me coming out, but that is just the way it is. So I just wanted to thank you very much again for clicking on the video and for spending a little bit of time. I hope it was worth your time. And again, click subscribe. It's I'm going to be putting out content throughout the summer. We still have a few more months before the season starts, but Eurobasket's going to be starting in a couple weeks. So I might start doing, well, I'm going to start doing a few lives here and there, some watch alongs if you wanted to do that. If not, I'm going to be breaking down the games to talk about France, um, talk about Tristan, talk about Goga. Those are the three Magic players that are playing in Eurobasket, and we're just going to make sure that we're taking a progress report on what all they've been working on so far and how that's going to affect the Magic this year. So again, call to actions. You got click subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave a comment. Just let me know, Paolo or J Dub. And lastly, smash that like button because we really need to get the channel in front of more eyes so that we can continue to grow and we'll be able to have more Magic love online. So, thank you very much. I hope you are having a great day.